Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. So there is not really a lot of new stuff to report since yesterday's last video. The overall situation is basically still the same. The market formed a nice 5-wave pattern to the upside here. And we have visually a nice 5-wave, I call it, it's a possible diagonal, but you can also count it as an impulse. It doesn't matter so much. It's a 5-wave move up. And even in the 5th wave, we visually have a 5-wave pattern. So I'm happy to call that a wave 1. And it could be complete. And I'm actually quite happy that it actually reached that 38.2 extension level, which was, how do you measure that? Well, we did measure that as one of our targets a few days ago. So we measured waves 1 and 3 together. And then you take that length and you compare it with the length of the 5th wave. And it's often either the 61.8 extension level or the 38.2 extension level. These are two possible targets for a 5th wave. So I'm quite happy we did get there. Market reacted. Great. Okay, so I cannot call yet a top in place, but it seems likely a top is in place in wave 1 at this stage, because these 5 waves can be called another wave 1, a larger degree wave 1. But I highlighted to you that we really need to see minimally a break below that green line, basically. Or let's say the Saturday low. It was the Tuesday low, right? Yesterday's low. So we need to see a break below that 2,877 level. It might go that way. And then we can say, okay, that is at least our first signal that a top of sorts is in place. I mean, even at the moment, it looks as if, we've got enough waves to the upside complete. Let's see. The first line of support will be that 2,800. By the way, I will take that orange box out. I don't want to confuse anyone. That's not relevant anymore. What is relevant is now just to see if that line, the previous low, is broken, which it might do. And then we could be heading down into that into that yellow box. But I would also pay attention to the lower boundary line. Okay, further extensions always possible. It's just that the potential now is quite large for a decent pullback in wave 2. So what do we have here? We have also the potential for a nice head and shoulders pattern. I see the potential for 2 head and shoulders patterns. So the bottom line is, if this now is wave 2, we should see an ABC structure to the downside. The A wave can often be quite impulsive. So labeling it would look like this: A wave down, B wave up, C wave down. This is sort of what we could look at here in terms of this corrective pattern. The A wave might, for example, touch here the lower boundary line of the ascending trend channel, for example. I said I see the potential for 2 head and shoulders patterns. Well, you see, if we break below that trend line, we are arriving at 2,721, which will be another structural support level. What could happen is that this was the 3rd, this was the 4th, we have our wave 5, and then the move down in an A wave, which could end at this wave 4 of lower degree. Then we could get a B wave rally, a retest, and then a C wave down. That's of course highly speculative. There's zero evidence for it, but it is a likely pathway, I think, that would nicely also be in line with the Elliott Wave patterns here. That's one way of looking at it. It literally, first of all, depends on where we see a more substantial swing low. So what we need to see is, where does the A wave complete? I don't have enough structure to suggest how the A wave is going to unfold. So it's possible that the A wave is a 5-wave pattern. A wave can be a 3-wave move. So that means this A wave itself could be made up of a larger A, B, C structure. So as soon as we see evidence that this A wave is complete, we can calculate a resistance area for B. I don't normally like to do this. I always say it's standard resistance, because B waves don't really have targets. They can even overshoot. If it's forming a head and shoulders pattern, it shouldn't really overshoot. We might just be using this trend line. It might act as a little bit of, or resistance line. It might act as a little bit of resistance, okay, for that head and shoulders pattern if it evolves. So this is just a potential. Let's first see if it can break below yesterday's low. Then we have a first indication that a top of sorts is in place. Then I would be watching sort of the area down here around the previous wave 4 swing low. Have a little bit of trading area there. We can add the VRVP volume profiles to see where we have cluster of previous volume, basically, where the price could slow down a bit, but that is not so important for Elliott Wave, mostly here in that region again, you know. So it's worth watching exactly for the completion of the A wave if it's unfolding, which needs to be confirmed by breaking the low. I can only highlight that there is a high risk of a pullback in wave 2. I did that already yesterday. We're in a topping area, I think. At least it seems reasonable to assume that we are in an area where this wave 1 could complete. I can see certain potentials for this wave 1 obviously to extend higher. That can always happen. But for now, let's see if the market breaks the previous swing low. Then we are going to see an area of support here most likely. Yeah. And then it will depend on the next rally. If the structure of the next rally is corrective, clearly corrective, then likely another C wave down is coming. And this area could be another opportunity area, which at the moment is defined between 2,328 and 2,667. So this is going to be an opportunity area. I think only a break below 2,328 would challenge this bullish structure. That's my update about Ether. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.